Hello everyone and welcome to Thursday's edition of the vlog. Going to be a bit of a recap on the breeding programs that we've got going on at our place right now, which is of course including the Woma pythons and the spotted pythons. So I'll give you a bit of an update, let you know what I look for when I put the male and the female together. I haven't swapped them around at all or rotated the male as much as I used to, so I've just pretty much put them together, checked every now and then and separated if needed. We did separate the male and the female spotted for about a week, but they're back together now. So I'll show you what I'm looking for with this breeding season and what I do in preparation for the eggs when they're ready to come, and to see if there's anything that you can spot with your reptiles as well that you could potentially see and predict that you're going to have eggs. So with that, let's get straight into it. So when you first put your pythons together, it is a good idea to weigh your females, which I always tell myself I need to weigh them before I start breeding, but of course I'm that forgetful, I never do. So with that, I will definitely get onto that for next time, because it is a good thing to have as a record keeping aspect to monitor the weight of your male and definitely your females, because they do go through a very strenuous period of going through and developing follicles and keeping the eggs healthy and then obviously egg laying. So we have to keep an eye on the weight of the females. But what I generally do is I go by a lot of look and feel. So I pretty much come out here every day, check out all the animals, feed, you know, the crickets, the turtles, stuff like that. But I will go through and check the pythons, as they are a bit more low maintenance. But just because they're low maintenance doesn't mean you should check on them less or less frequently. So what I do is I come into here and I check out, we've got the male and the female Woma here. So what I do is I'm looking, we've got male here who's very inquisitive and the female's coming around now. So what I'm basically looking for is, I'll flip this camera around, and what I'm looking for is, you got the dark male here and the lighter female. So what I tend to look for is I watch how they move, and you can normally see, and if I can get a good, they're both coming up to say hello. Hello darlings. You probably, because it's warmer, you get a bit more active. But what I generally look for is in this area here. All in here, you're going to get a lot more swelling up around here, and especially here. So I'm noticing from about here to about here that the scale separation is getting a lot more, and you can definitely see it the more you go down the tail. So normally the scales are quite close together, but sometimes with larger pythons they will separate. But I'm generally looking right in here as well, because that's starting to get a bit thicker. So they will start generally in the midsection and they'll come all the way down to here. So I'm always looking around that area throughout the breeding season to see how much more growth they get. So at the moment I'm looking pretty intent on the fact that we're going to have eggs from the Womas again, which is good. Just hopefully this time there's a lot more eggs to be seen from the mama. And it is starting to warm up a bit more now, which is good. So we had that cold snap which sort of snapped them straight into that breeding cycle, but it's good to see that they're really active today, especially with a little bit of a warmer weather, especially in the garage. So that's good. So I'll chuck these guys away and then I'll show you the spotted pythons. With the spotted pythons now, they are a lot easier to tell in a sense of how much they've grown, as they are a lot smaller and it will be a lot more of a noticeable growth compared to your larger pythons, where it can seem like if you feed during the breeding season, which some snakes do eat, some snakes don't, it's not really a good practice to feed them during the breeding season, as there can be a few little complications, but generally you're fine as long as you feed a bit smaller. But what I noticed with these guys, for example, so you've got the female here and the male at the side here. Now these guys have been separate for a while now, so it's good to see, as that normally indicates that they've done a fair bit of breeding and they've taken a break. And this is normally a good time where you can actually rotate your males through, because the female's not showing as much interest. but for us we've only got the one female and the one male, so it's a bit harder to rotate around. So what I generally do is I leave them for a couple of extra days, and then I will separate them for about a week, and then reintroduce again in a week and see if there's any more interest. But I dare say that's pretty much it for the spotted, as it's getting quite warm now. So what I'm looking for, again, same thing, is that area around here is what I'm looking for. And every now and then it looks like there's a lot more growth, but then there's times like today where I look and there's not as much. So it's normally when there's a lot of growth, it's an ovulation. So what we want to do is keep an eye on that and make sure that we see a lot more development, and then you'll see the belly up stages and more of a development inside for the eggs. So it'll be good to see over the next coming weeks to see what it'll be like, and if there's any other things that we can change, rotate, or do differently with spiking temps and stuff like that. But these guys have been on and off heat for a couple of weeks, so it's good to see that they're active as well, because they've been I think they were on the heat for overnight, just to give them a bit of heat. But we'll see how we go. As it's the funny thing about these two is that they look like one's the male and one's the female, and then it looks like they're reversed in breeding season, and it makes me think, is it the right, did I swap them around? But I'm sure it's the way it's supposed to be. But then again, when you're putting through so many males and females, you sort of lose track. So it's good to have those indicators there of who's who and what's what and who's got what. But the easiest indicator is when there's eggs and there's a snake pushing eggs out, and then it's 100% guaranteed that that is a female. So it'll be interesting to see if I'm right or I've swapped them around at some stage during last season. So we'll keep up to date with that and see how that goes. Now, the other thing that we're excited for is the Wollongong Reptile Expo, which I'm going to be talking about pretty much every single vlog coming up to it, because I'll be doing vlogs myself. And of course, we are going through the process now of putting in a raffle for the expo. So that'll be a CBTV raffle, which you will be in the draw to win. I think we're going for about a $2 raffle. So at the moment, I'm thinking that the prize will be an Exoterra enclosure, a light dome, light globe, and some substrate. So it's pretty much a whole setup there minus your thermostat. So pretty cheap, $2 you could win. But with that said, I've got to make sure I get all the terms and conditions done, and James Bindoff is 100% ready to launch the whole thing for the Wollongong Expo, so that's fantastic. And we've obviously got our shirts, which I'm always sporting them now, which is the elephant one or the cartoon one or the CBTV. So there's a lot of things going on. Everything's on that website, and we are accepting payments for any of those merchandise items. So make sure you check them out if you want to get something. Otherwise, we will be at the expo, and it'll be on James Bindoff's table, where you can purchase your own CBTV stuff and contribute to conservation and getting a really cool shirt, mug, or notebook. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end the vlog here. Hope you enjoyed the little update on the Woma pythons and the spotteds, and any little tips and tricks that I gave you along the way. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me, hit that notification bell, and I will see you on Monday.